Okay, so we're all set up to put this thing together. So let's see here. So if you see here, I kind of have a little bit of a unique setup here. So you see how this long piece, this short piece is on the edge here and it's touching here, and I did that on this side too. Something about this particular type of design I really like. So sorry about switching between widescreen and non-widescreen. I think this is widescreen. This is my first YouTube video, by the way. So we'll open this and then we'll get going. Bam. Okay. So you see how this side of the bracket's a little sunken and that side's not? So the screw holes are sunken on this side, so this side goes up. So this is the back. This is the back of the portrait. Like that. And then bam. One more time. Thank you, man. And right there. One more 90 degrees. Look at all this measuring I'm doing. Like a boss. And just to be super precise, we'll get them on there at the same time. So yeah, easy 90 degree angles. So what I have here is I have a drill bit that kind of, you can move the drill bit up and down in this hex. It's kind of cool. I mean, you just need a really thin drill bit essentially. Find a thin one and then match it up with the screw length, you know, so how far you going to go down. Or this one's adjustable, so like as soon as you go all the way down, I know I'm as deep as I need to go. That's what she said. So yeah, and then so essentially what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a marker. Actually, let me grab a marker. And I am not left-handed, by the way. Oh. See, and then the thing is, it's got to be perfect. Even if you knock it off a little bit, you have to make sure that this edge is coming off perfectly, and that edge. That's the only way you know that you don't really have to measure those 90s. So I usually take it one corner at a time, just to make sure that if you haven't made a mistake, it'll all line up in the end, you know. And as I've been doing this project, I've been thinking, you know, like a lot of the no measurement things I'm talking about here, you really have to have a sense of, okay, if I'm estimating, I have to overestimate, because you can always cut off, but you can't add back, and like you have to eyeball things like at a really high level. If you're eyeballing things and your eyeball's off, then well, guess what? Everything will be off. It's as simple as that. So let's see here. Hold on. Let me make sure this is tight. Example of what I'm talking about is, so when you're eyeballing things, okay, like I've taken no measurements. These are just 4 dots. But like, I take this off, put it back on. Take it off, put it back on. And kind of, if I put it back on and it lines up like perfectly, and I look at every edge and it's aligned up, okay, you know what, green light, let's go drill these holes. So I'm going to drill out all the holes in all 4 corners, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So this is an example of how the structure is. So say this is like the 2 pieces of the frame, right? So essentially they fit like this, or one end is on the corner always, depending on the corner. They don't go like, for example, this or this. It's this. That makes sense. So as you can see here, I have these brackets loosely over the holes I drilled, and I just kind of half tighten all these just to make sure that it is a square. And you can see this is definitely going to end up being a square. There's no other way. Every corner is flush, or it will be flush with the bracket. So pretty happy. I'm going to tighten it up and let's check it out. So you can see we're pretty close to the finished product here. Everything's tightened down. I used a drill. You kind of have to use a drill. The screws are going to be very tight. So you can see it's flat along the edge, and these brackets are pretty thin. They didn't look like they were thin, but they actually are, which helps. So we're square. Literatively and figuratively. We are square. Let's get the canvas on here. So you can see edge perfect. Edge almost perfect. Right there. We're really close, if not at the edge. So I'm happy. This side. Now what's cool is obviously the canvas is going to stretch. So if we're a little bit big, which I tried to be, so let me staple this down here. So I'm going to one-handed throw down this first staple so you can kind of see how the process goes. So I make sure I'm perfect at this edge here, which is going to come, it's hard to see this angle, but that's where I'm at. And then once I have this, you also have to make, before you make a short staple, make sure you're good on this side and on there, and then check this, I'm there, and then so yeah, so I mean I typically do it maybe a few times in a lot of different places, just to make sure that I'm not making a serious mistake. Just keep doing this until you're 100% sure it's lined up perfectly. Or you're making essentially you're making a concession somewhere. But I'm gonna find a spot. I'm gonna probably right here. I'll anchor it, and then we'll go from there, and we'll just stretch it out, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so I made a mistake. I put down one staple, and I'm like, okay, let's avoid the brackets, and I'm like, wait, the brackets are on the other side, so I gotta take that staple out. No big deal. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are kind of like, they've set the tension, so you can kind of, this is the last chance to really see how it's gonna look before you set it. Now if it's crooked here and you set it, you're right. So for me, I'm pretty confident that it's square, but another opportunity to make sure that your eyeballing hasn't screwed all your work up. So I'm pretty happy. So I'm just gonna tack this up, and we'll address the corners. I think I want to cut. I want to cut it. So I'm just gonna fold it. I'll get a cut in. We'll get that, and we'll get that, and it'll be. I think I want to go this direction. Okay, so I finished the corner on the on this new panel here, so you can see. Look how clean it looks. Now here's the one that I folded just for comparison. So you can see that essentially what you're going to do is you're just going to fold over each edge, and you're going to keep cutting out the fabric until it's not that much left. There's one line here, one line here. Looks like it's one big piece. That's what you want. So I think taking an X-Acto knife or a pair of scissors and then essentially, more or less, you're cutting all this out. And whatever's left over, you're folding inside. So so you have a perfect edge. But you can see here that we have the beginnings of a perfect edge. Once I get that down, and we have this down, right, we're gonna have essentially what we have over here. So I'm gonna do the rest of the panels like that. I had to staple it on the inside here opposed to just the corners, because this side has the metal bracket on the back and this one has the metal bracket against the front here. Now you can't really tell too much, but you can tell. You can see there's a mark there. So this panel I'm going to leave the way it is. It was a learning experience, but the rest of the panels will be done more professional. So it's one. Let's get the second one done. Okay, so we have a second piece. It's done. I ended up cutting more and more out of the fabric. You don't need too much fabric. And then one cool thing is I put a staple, one in each side of the board, just a little bit more stability on these. I went right up to the metal on each end. You can see there. I went up to the metal on each end, and I put a staple that connects. I didn't do it here, there's too much fabric there, but this is my first corner, and you can see it's getting better with every corner, and that was the last one. So we're looking clean. The only imperfection with this one is you can see a little white on this edge here, but all the other edges are super clean. A little disappointed, but we'll keep working on it. Okay, so as I'm doing more and more of these, I'm realizing if you want a finished line like this on the sides, which I do, like if you look at it from the side, you want that to be clean as possible. The top doesn't really matter. See how you can see that fold there? You can't see it from the side. So what I'm doing to get that effect, you can see here, you can see the fold from the side, and people might see that, but here, if you're shorter than that, then you would never know that there's some white up there. So another way to creatively tuck your edge so people can't see that white line is you would adhere the bottom piece first to this the bottom piece, and then you fold the part that you want to be cleaner, you fold that over. So the cleaner edge has to be over, kind of like that. I can't do it with one hand, but I think I've done this a few times. Kind of like that. So like if you were to view it from this edge, let's just color this edge, you can see that fold. And the bottom edge is the edge I care less about. The side is more important. On these pictures you can see the side will be important. The best way to cut it is just kind of like cut a square out, and then it's easier to fold. That makes sense. Okay, so 4 completed. Last one. This is the last piece. This is also the biggest piece. And you can see here that I figured out the perfect way to get the corner. Perfect. Let's just cut out a square. Just like this. Okay, so we have the final step of the frames. You can see here I have it mounted on my wall. Let's see, right there. And I have the final piece. So you can see here that I mounted with these strips, and they're about to go back on the wall. And I have the strips for the wall already on there, and they're just like a 3M strip, Velcro. Okay, so this is the final mounting place for this poster. It's actually pretty big, I would say. It turned out to look really nice. There's a few wrinkles here and there, but that's expected the first time you do something. But honestly, it looks professional. I've gotten a lot of compliments. Been up for a few weeks now. I would love to integrate like a lighting element somewhere in there, but maybe for a later day. So far so good. I recommend going this route. I mean, it was pretty simple. I was able to do everything in a day. and mount it. And so I ended up not going with hooks. I went with the 3M Velcro straps. Oh my god, I'm so glad I did that. I didn't damage the wall. More than strong enough to hold the weight of the photos. And just way easier, less time. I didn't have to get a hammer out or anything like that. So 3M for the win. All right. Okay, so I hope you like my video. Like, subscribe, comment if you want to. Subscribe, please. And then maybe I'll do some more of this, these types of projects. Maybe I won't.